Hey everybody, it's Cayley. I'm back with another What Sold From Last Week video. We are catching up again this week. This is actually 2 weeks prior, and hopefully this week I'll be able to catch up with not only the second week, but also the one that just happened. But if you're new here, I've got my office behind me. I am a full-time reseller. I sell on sites like Ebay and Poshmark, and every week I try to come on and share what's sold from the previous week. So if you'd like to be notified when those videos go live, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell down below. This particular week that we'll be talking about in this video, sales did drop pretty significantly, and actually most of the weeks this month have been a little bit slower, with exception to the week that just happened, which is the video I'll be putting out next. So yeah, sales have been a little slow. Got a lot of items that still sold that I'm happy to share with you, but it is worth noting that sales went up and then they took a dive, which is to be expected during this time of the year. Let's go ahead and dive into those sales now. Alright guys, like I said, we need to catch up. So these are sales from May 8th through the 14th. Again, a little behind, but let's catch you back up about what's been going on as far as my sales go. So in total, I sold 112 items that week. Like I said, sales were a little bit slower, $3,431.76, were my gross sales for that particular week. My average sale price was $30.64. We talked about it kind of the last What Sold video, but my average sale price has been dropping, and I think that is just because I'm kind of flushing out older items. I'm doing price drops on a lot of things, which in turn stuff's selling for a lot cheaper, but it is good that I'm moving it out of my store. Hopefully after some of those things flush out, this will go back up. My estimated cost of goods based on an average buy cost was $448, and then my estimated net, which is my gross sales less cost of goods, less fees, and less shipping costs, were $2,093.52. On eBay, I sold 74 items. On Poshmark, I sold 38. Gross sales on eBay were almost $2,400 and then just over $1,000 on Poshmark. Let's dive into some of those eBay sales. I've got a few Tommy John items to show you. I know I've talked about this brand quite a bit. Here is the logo. It honestly doesn't seem like a substantial brand, but they have a really big following. This pre-owned t-shirt sold for about $25 and we paid only $1.99. I'm not sure if you guys watched our thrift with me video where we found a whole slew of these, but we paid only $1.99 for a bunch of pre-owned Tommy John men's Henley shirts. This particular order, someone actually purchased 3 total. So like you can see here, we did a quantity listing instead of listing each individual shirt by itself. And that's just to save money by putting it all into one listing and just doing a quantity. That way you only have to pay fee on one listing. So someone actually purchased all 3 shirts at once. This was an international sale that went overseas. Again, we paid $1.99 per shirt. The total order before shipping costs was $74.82 for 3 Tommy John t-shirts. So that's really good for some pre-owned t-shirts. And the fact that somebody was willing to buy the same size and the same color, quantity of 3 all at once, just tells you how much of a following this brand has. So you're not going to see a huge like ASP on Tommy John, but again, they do have a following and their stuff is really nice, kind of minimalist, kind of loungy, sometimes pajama stuff, but all in all, a great brand to sell. I really enjoy selling this brand. Next up is something other than clothing. You know, I'm all the time showing clothing. Last year, we bought a bunch of Squishmallows. This is Dante the Devil, and we got it right before Halloween started. These had a really great sell-through rate. Like, we did the comp, we priced what we thought was fair, but because everybody was buying this, it was a race to the bottom on price, and we only had 1 or 2 sell, even though we had quite a bit. So we ended up having to drop the price on these significantly. I think originally we had it priced for like over $100. And so throughout each month, I drop prices on anything 90 days or older. So that's why ours ended up being $67.67. Since the price drop, ours is now, I think, the cheapest one on eBay, and they have been selling like crazy. Don't know why these ones are starting to sell. Again, I think it's just because ours is the lowest price. We originally paid $18 each for these very large Squishmallows. Again, I know that sounds like a lot, almost $20, but we did intend to sell them for over $20. Even still, 20 into almost 70, we definitely made our money back, and I'm just happy that these are selling. I'm not even going to raise the price and try to compete with these other sellers. I want to get these things out of our space, and hopefully those turkey toms that we're still sitting on will also start to sell very soon as we drop prices and move closer to the holidays. But Squishmallows can be a really nice thing to sell. Some of them are very rare, and just in general, they're very popular. Moving on to the clothing again, this is a Free People item. This is a really cool cardigan that is kind of oversized, has a really pretty red color to it. We did look up the style number information on the inside and found out it was called the Florence cardigan. This one, really great. I always say with Free People, it is worth looking up the style name because some are more rare than others. In this case, this was a more rare style. We paid $4.69 for it, and it sold for our full asking price of $49.92. I do like showing my Lululemon sales. We don't show every Lululemon sale. We do sell a lot of it though. We come across it pretty often, but we are starting to get a little bit more picky with the ones we pick up. I love selling anything Lululemon men's. The men's stuff, no matter what it is, seems to do really well for us. The women's I'm becoming a lot more picky on, but I like to show the men's sales because not a lot of people know that Lululemon has men's items. And so if you're not currently looking for Lululemon in the men's department, I would definitely keep an eye out. Typically they have kind of a black logo, and sometimes it can be hard to see like you see here. Same thing with the size dot. You can look up all the information on the inside. These were a size extra, extra large. And we picked these up for $4.69, especially in the men's department. I don't think thrift stores notice Lululemon, more so in the women's, but definitely not the men's. And so I can usually get it for just regular pricing. These sold for our full asking price of $59.95. They're just a pair of men's sweatpants. Next up is a bins pickup. This was very lightweight. It was alpaca and merino wool, but a very light alpaca merino wool. I took a chance on this even though we're moving into warmer weather just because of the great materials. I thought it was a really nice neutral color, and it just had an interesting like poncho look to it. And it's an older tag. So a lot of chances, but I was getting it at the bins. This, to my surprise, sold extremely quickly within about a month of listing it. Even moving into warmer weather for an offer of $35.95. I'm starting to become a lot more comfortable with picking up J. Crew if they have some nicer materials in it. I'm kind of finding what works best for me as far as this brand goes. So doing really well with J. Crew in certain pieces, and this would be one of them. Next up is a soft surroundings women's dress. We paid up for this. We paid $5.99, but it was a really nice multicolor kind of tie-dye look maxi dress, and all the substantial factors packed together made for a really great sale. This is the label, if you're not familiar with it, soft surroundings. And on the inside, you can look up the style name or the style number on Google to figure out exactly what it's called if you're not familiar. This one was really easy to do comps on just because it is, you know, a pretty distinctive dress. And again, we paid $5.99. It sold for a full asking price of $39.95. This is a pretty good brand, in my opinion, to pick up in most things, but we do try to look for the more substantial pieces. Here's another one of my favorite brands to sell. It is Eileen Fisher. If you guys saw this thrift with me, I think it was called She Took It and Ran. It's a picture, a thumbnail of Nikki holding a bunch of clothing running. This is the video you're going to see us pick up all of these Eileen Fisher items in. We came across a slew of Eileen Fisher items, most of which were new with tags. Now these ones were probably the less fancy pieces that we found, but we still picked them up because they were new with tags. They were called the Black Zip Up Essentials jacket. And we found a total of 5 of these in a size large, and they've almost all sold now, which I've been really surprised about. We originally picked up each one for $4.69. Again, they were new with tags. We had them listed for $39.95, and they have all almost sold at full price, which was really cool. This one in particular did sell for our full asking price, and I'm happy that they're selling so quickly, even though they're just kind of a basic older style. This is a brand I've actually been sitting on for a little bit, but we picked it up at the bin, so it was super lightweight and cheap to get. The brand is Wolford, W-O-L-F-O-R-D. This is just a modal polyamide blend shirt. From what I can tell, this brand retails for quite a bit, but doesn't always have the best sell-through rate. Since we were picking up at the bins, I thought I'd give it a shot. It did eventually sell, which I was happy about, for a really great price for just a half sleeve t-shirt. So probably paid $1 or less for this. We listed it for $44.88, and it ended up selling on an offer for $40.39. Again, it did take a few months to sell, but would I pick up this brand again? I think I would, just because for a t-shirt, that is such a great return on investment. Here's another Lululemon item. This is also something I've been sitting on for a while, and I'm not really sure why. It was a Lululemon women's Going Places full zip vest. I have began dropping the prices on this. It had a little bit of fading, but you would think that a vest would do a lot better. It ended up selling on an offer for $30.57, and I originally paid $4.29. These are a pair of shoes that I picked up at the bins. I've really been paying attention to picking up some like Y2K style, anything that I could consider like a block low chunky platform-ish heel that looks a little bit vintage. I'll put the words Y2K in, and I thought that these were Y2K enough to include that keyword. The brand is Born, and they were really nice leather shoes. These sold very quickly as well. Again, the bins is a great place to experiment with stuff, and I like experimenting especially with the Y2K shoes there because it seems to be something people throw back. These sold for a full asking price of $29.94. Next up is one of our favorite brands to pick up, and I used to say that we would only pick this up at the bins. However, lately we have been experimenting with picking it up for full price at a thrift store. We actually paid $4.99 for this. It is a Knox Rose maxi dress, pre-owned. We got this one and decided to pay full price as an experiment because it was a maxi dress and because it was a size extra large. So for all of those reasons, decided that it would probably sell for more. We listed high on this one. We listed $29.93. It did sell for full asking price. So I'm really happy with this brand, Knox Rose. I would not really suggest you to pick it up for full price anywhere, but if you've got a really substantial piece in a large size, it might be worth getting. Next up is a brand called Ambra or Ambra. I'm not super familiar with this brand, but the reason I picked it up was because of the style. It was silk, it was tiered, it had kind of a romantic look to it, and anything with this kind of style and silky materials does really well for us. I paid $4.99 for this. It sold on an offer for $33. I would just keep your eye out for anything beachy and the lighter neutral colors that is silky. This is another brand kind of like J. Crew that I've been coming a lot more comfortable with. It is Banana Republic. This is the Core Temp 9-inch 8-inch short. So these were a pair of men's Nuba tags, kind of like golf, casual, athletic-y, dressy looking shorts. Mainly got these because they were Nuba tags. I paid $4.69 at a thrift store, and it sold for a full asking price of $31.48. Next up is a J. Jill, again with this like beachy, lighter colored look. Does really well for us. So this one is a J. Jill, which is a brand that I typically do like picking up, and it was linen for all of those reasons. We did think it was a pretty good sale. We got this one at the bins as well. Linen is super lightweight, so probably costs like 50 cents. It did end up selling for our full asking price of $29.91. Here's another Banana Republic. Again, like I just said, I've been becoming a lot more comfortable with picking up this brand if certain factors are involved, especially in the men's stuff. It does really well for us. These are a pair of men's Mason Chino straight leg pants, and these ones are actually pre-owned, but they still sold for a really good price. We picked these up for only $1. They sold for $22.47. Here's that brand Tommy John again. This one we did not have multiples of, but we did pick it up during that same time. We paid, again, $1.99 for it. It sold for our full asking price of $24.94. You just can't beat that. A couple bucks into 25 and you know it's going to sell quickly. So keep your eye out for this brand Tommy John, especially in the men's department. Something else we like picking up in the men's department, if it is cheap, are some Quicksilver stuff. This is the Waterman collection, men's size extra large. Again, we got this at the bin, so only a buck or two. It sold for $22.48. Some of this Quicksilver stuff, if it has a style name on it, tends to do pretty good for us. This was another men's pickup. This is a Marvel jacket. It's called Marvel Her Universe, and it was a Thanos jacket. This was pretty easy to look up. I think I just did a Google search to find like the exact style name. And good sell-through rate on this, surprisingly. Again, got this at the bins. It sold for an offer of $24.23. Next up is another linen piece, or sorry, not linen, a silk wool blend. This is Tommy Bahama. This is something we do like picking up typically in linens or in silks. This one was an odd silk wool blend, but it was a size extra, extra large, so we took a chance on it. And it's just kind of a plain black look. This one we paid $4.99 for. It sold for a full asking price of $24.95. Priced this one a little bit lower just because it was more plain. This is Doll's Kill in collaboration with Tokideki. Doll's Kill does seem to have a following, in my opinion. A lot of the Hot Topic looking stuff does, and it was a size extra, extra large, so I took a chance on getting this one, and it is just a tunic top. So keep your eye out for Doll's Kill, especially collaborations, because it does have a following. I paid $4.39 for this, and it sold for $26.88. Next up is something else we took a chance on. This was strictly picked up because it was 100% linen. Vince can be a brand I think a lot of people get too excited about. A lot of people pick this up because this brand retails for a lot, and it honestly used to be a better brand to resell, but does not perform as well as it used to. But when paired, in my experience, with better materials, this brand can perform well. So I took a chance on this one. We paid $4.29 for it and only got it because it was 100% linen, it was pink, and it was a size large. I thought all of those things would help it to sell. And we listed it for $32.37. It ended up selling on an offer to watchers for $29.13, which in my opinion, $30 for a pre-owned, essentially t-shirt is always good. Last one on eBay before we move on to some Poshmark sales. These were a pair of my jeans that I previously owned, but I paid $4.99 for them, and I come across NYDJ pretty often. They do not tend to perform very well, but some of these modern styles in larger sizes do good. This one was a nice pair of black jeans with a little bit of fringe, or I guess not fringe, but like distressed bottoms. And for that reason, I thought that they would do good reselling. Again, I originally paid $4.99. It sold for $22.44 on an offer, but sometimes we do like to pick up NYDJ if they are more modern. Moving on to some Poshmark sales. This was a really surprising one to me. Sometimes certain brands will sell on Poshmark just because we list everything over there that I don't expect to sell on Poshmark. Poshmark tends to be more modern, trendy clothing. I don't usually think the outdoorsy stuff when I think of Poshmark, but I've been really surprised with some of the stuff that's been selling over there. So this is an REI Co-op men's thermal shirt, size extra large. REI Co-op, this particular line Co-op, has been doing really well for us, so we continue to pick it up. I paid $4.29 for this, and it sold for $30 on Poshmark. This was another surprising Poshmark sale. This is a vintage men's 90s silk shirt. The brand is, have no idea how to pronounce it, Gooouch, and I saw pretty good sell-through rates of this brand of vintage men's silk shirts, so I would keep your eye out for it. And just in general, men's silk shirts do good. but just make sure to do your comps to make sure that that particular brand is worth getting. We picked this up at the bins. It actually had a button that was a little loose, but it still sold for $27. Here we go with the Banana Republic again. This one I picked up strictly because it was Italian merino wool and it was a longer length. We got this at the bins and it sold for $35. Again, I'm just becoming more comfortable with this brand, and just in general with this and J. Crew, if you pick up pieces that have a modern look to them in nicer materials, they can perform very well for you. This is another men's pickup. It is a women's, I think it used to be men's, but then got cut out into a women's sweatshirt. And we did list, that they had a custom cutout neck and arms. This was from 1998, so it was vintage, and it sold for $29. I have no problem selling vintage sweatshirts. Like, to me, it really doesn't matter what the subject matter is. If it's got a date on it, I do extremely well with vintage sweatshirts on both eBay and Poshmark. Here's another brand in silk shirts that we like picking up. I talk about this a lot. It's Nat Nast. Here is the tag. This is pretty much the only thing that does good in this brand are these silk shirts, but this was a men's size extra large. And a lot of people pass on this at thrift stores just because to look at it, it doesn't seem very modern or trendy, but they do extremely well. I paid $4.69 for it and it sold for $55. This is another Ben's pickup. This is by the brand Bowden. We really love picking up Bowden, especially in larger sizes. This was a size 14 and it is a linen blue navy jumpsuit. Could not pass it up. Love selling substantial Bowden pieces like dresses and like jumpsuits. So we sold this for $32. Again, we originally picked it up at the bins. I'm going to guess we paid $2 to $3 for it based on weight. This was another Ben's pickup. These are just American Eagle, but I'll tell you what, American Eagle is one of my highest selling brands quantity wise. I sell a lot of American Eagle. These are a size 10. These are the high-rise shorty. These shorts do pretty good. I can usually sell them now between 15 and 20 bucks. These ones I priced up a little bit higher because of the red, white, and blue flag pockets. So they sold for $20 on Poshmark. I thought that was a pretty good deal, but recently we've decided to only pick these up at the bins because they are selling for so little, even though they do sell. Another Ben's pickup, this is Arc'teryx. This was an older women's style. This brand in general does so good. I would pretty much pick it up. Men's, women's, doesn't matter. Here's the logo you want to look for. As you can see, it is pre-owned. It is an older style. It still sold for $42. Really love this brand. Again, in any gender, I will pick it up because it just performs so well. This is a Title IX women's skirt. This brand in general does pretty good in the women's category, but I just wanted to bring your attention to skirts. I've mentioned it a couple times, but these skirts with the shorts underneath are called skirts, and in a lot of brands perform very well during the warmer months. So if you're not already in the skirt section looking at skirts, I'd really start to do some comps over there. I just sold like a Nike, just plain black and white skirt recently for $35 pre-owned. I mean, those are crazy numbers to bring in for a skirt, and skirts are typically a place that other resellers do not look at. So I would definitely keep your eye out for skirts. This particular one, we paid $3.99 for. It sold on an offer for $22. They're really easy to list too. Next and final is this Everlane sale. We picked up this dress for $4.99. There's just something about Everlane that I cannot leave behind. Their stuff does not perform the best for me. Overall, I would say these days it does tend to have a slower sell-through rate, but if you get the right piece like this one, which is like this minimalist dress, it can perform really good. I paid $4.99 for it. It ended up selling for $40. I don't know why, but I can't leave Everlane behind. It's just made so well. They tend to have kind of minimalist plain stuff, and even though it does sit for me, I still pick it up because eventually it does sell for good money. Alright guys, so that's it for what sold last week. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching. Don't forget, again, if you're not already and you would like to be notified every time I post these kind of videos, to subscribe down below and hit that notification bell. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.